How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Nick Cannon being fired from ViacomCBS due to his anti-Semitic and anti-white comments that he made on his podcast recently. Now, I would play the clipping question right here in this video, but I can't do that. We are on YouTube, so I'll place that in the description box below so you can see it and hear it for yourself. Now, to just start from the very beginning and address the elephant in the room, what Nick Cannon said is not uncommon in the black community. It's actually very common. I've been hearing all that same stuff for the better part of 20 years. Okay, this is nothing new at all. But Nick Cannon should know better. You're 40 years old, you've been married, you got kids. What are you thinking about? Why would you go on your podcast to say something like that? You might as well say it live on TV during the Masked Singer or something like that. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's just read what he said, and then I'll explain what's going on and why it was bad and my further 2 cents about what's going on. Now, and I quote, "When you see a person that has a lack of pigment, a lack of melanin, they fear that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they had a lack of compassion. Melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul." Let's pause right there for a moment. Melanin comes with compassion. Are you sure about that, sir? I'm seeing little kids get killed all over the nation. You know, melanated kids getting killed by melanated people. All right. You're talking about babies, not just, underage juveniles, 15, 16, gangbang, whoop-de-whoop. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about babies. A 1-year-old baby getting shot, killed at a barbecue. An 8-year-old little girl getting killed intentionally. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 10. Younger than that. Little kids getting killed. So compassion, I mean, if we have it, I'm not saying we don't at all, but if melanin just brings about more compassion than those that don't have it, I'm not really sure how that's really working for us right now in the United States. But I digress. Let's keep on going. We call it soul, soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it, I'm going to say this carefully, are a little less. So basically what he's saying right there is, if you don't have melanin, if you're non-melanated, which is not even really, because what people like Nick Cannon and the woke black folks think is that if you are a white person or light skin like Mariah Carey, his ex-wife anyway, if you are not like me, like my skin complexion, you don't have any melanin. That's not true. You have some melanin, you just don't have as much, or it's not the same as me. That's all there is. There's a difference in melanin, but it's not just totally absent. All right, so we'll move on. They didn't have the power of the sun. The sun then started to deteriorate their skin. So then they're acting out of fear. They're acting out of low self-esteem. They're acting out of a deficiency. Can it continue? So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. They have to rob, steal, rape, kill in order to survive. They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric because they're in these Nordic mountains. Okay, whatever the Nordic mountains. It's funny because he's talking about like Nordic mountains, and then he says the Caucasus, they're like nowhere near each other, but we'll keep going. They're in these rough environments, so they're acting as animals, Cannon added. So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. So that right there, basically he's saying that we're not the savages, we're not the animals, it's white people. And you know what? This is really garden variety black woke stuff. Like I said from the beginning, I've been hearing this for the better part of 20 years. When you like are around some of these woke circles, Nation of Islam, 5% Nation, that kind of stuff, when you're into that, or when you get deeper, like Malachi York, once you get into that, this is common stuff. And the purpose is to attack white people to bring yourself up as a black person, to give yourself more self-esteem, basically. That's what's going on. But he didn't stop there. He spoke about Jews as well, which was the actual problem. Okay, when you're speaking about white people negatively and in a racist or racially charged way, it's no big deal. You can say whatever you want about a white person if you're a black person, or anybody else really, but especially if you're a black person, and get away with it. You can call them all types of names, all kind of racial slurs. You can say whatever you want and it's fine. You can attack them, beat them. It's not really a big deal. Okay. But if it's the other way around, then it becomes the worst thing on planet Earth. If there was a white person that said what Nick Cannon said about blacks that he said about whites, then that white person would be David Duke. They'd be a white supremacist. They'd be a neo-Nazi. You know, that'd be some kind of a hate crime thing going on right there. Okay, they would have no platform at all. But let's continue. About Jews, what he basically said was that they're not the true people. They're not the chosen people. We are the real Jews. Speaking about black folks, African Americans, we are the real Jews. They aren't the real Jews. And they've taken our birthright to dominate the world with the Rothschilds and the 13 families and whatnot. Okay, so for that comment right there, that got him fired from ViacomCBS. Now, Viacom didn't immediately just cut him off. They gave him a chance to apologize. They put out a statement, and I'll place it on the screen before you. They basically were like, okay, we spoke to Nick Cannon about the podcast, and we didn't like the anti-Semitism, and we're disappointed that he didn't acknowledge that it was anti-Semitic and apologize for the anti-Semitism. So we're going to just cut ties altogether. All right? So they did give him a chance. If he would have apologized for what he said and acknowledged that it was anti-Semitic, he wouldn't have gotten fired. That's basically what I'm reading from the statement. But he didn't apologize. He put out a statement talking about, oh, well, you know, it wasn't meant to be anti-Semitic, no hate. We got to have tough conversations. Okay, you can have, quote unquote, tough conversations, but not right here on ViacomCBS. How about that? So they fired him immediately. And when I say immediately, I do mean immediately. His show, Wildin' Out, been on MTV for the past 15 years. Nick Cannon has been on MTV or Nickelodeon, Viacom in general, since 1998. At least when he was on All of That, the variety show, as a teenager. So you're talking about at least, 22 years of being involved with Viacom. But anyway, the show he has on MTV, While I Know, been around 15 years. They cut it off the air totally. There was going to be a rerun at about 4 a.m. in the morning. And rather than showing While I Know, they showed The Fresh Prince. I'm talking about that night, he was gone. It's still on YouTube right now, but how long is that going to last? I'm not really sure, but I digress. The whole point is that they fired Nick Cannon immediately because he didn't want to apologize for the anti-Semitic comments. Like I said about whites, you can say whatever you want, but Jews don't play that game. They don't, you can't just say whatever you want about them and get away with it. It's the same thing with black folks. If you are a white person, if you say anything about a black person and you're white, you can't really get away with it. And it's mostly whites that will enforce the punishment, but that's a different story, but I digress. My whole point is that you can't really say anything. And then if you are LGBTQ, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you say certain things about them, then that could be a problem too. Certain groups in the country protect themselves, they defend themselves, and some don't. Whites generally don't. Blacks generally don't when the person is black. Okay, you can kill as many black folks as you want to. You could be a serial killer and be black. It's no big deal if you're killing black folks. But if you're a white person and you kill one person, justified or not, then it's a problem. But anyway, Jews don't play that game. And Nick Cannon realizes that now. ViacomCBS is owned by Sumner Redstone and his family, and they're obviously Jewish. So, I mean, to me, it just kind of makes sense. Like, if I'm a black person, right, and I have this big corporation, and I have a white guy's like a big part of my company. He's a big part of the face of my company. He's out there talking crazy about black folks, talking about, oh, they're savages, they're still eating raw meat and whatnot. If they're saying stuff like that, then why would I have him on my network? Why would he be there anymore? I would say, you know what? You got to apologize for that, talking about you're racist and whatnot. I'll give you a chance to apologize. But if you don't do that, then why would I have you there? It's the same thing going on with Nick Cannon. But like I said, this is garden variety, black woke stuff. I've been hearing this. I'm surprised he didn't talk about Yakub and the spaceship and stuff like that. Okay? People talking about, oh, it's true. The reason why people are defending him is because this is very common. This conversation is had all the time in the black community. So a lot of people are going to come out and defend this man. People in the comments right now will be defending Nick Cannon, talking about, oh, you got to know who you are. You don't know who you are. I heard it all before. I've been around Nation of Islam guys for a long time. I was hanging around them and I was like, I used to believe that kind of stuff too. When I was like 21, 22, I would believe that stuff about white people being the scum of the, I would believe that when I was young because I was just ignorant. I was young and dumb. But at 36 years old, I don't think that my mind is the same as it was when I was a teenager or early 20s. Okay, but Nick Cannon, I feel like it's just now being exposed to that type of information and is putting it out there to the public and is being very irresponsible. So if he wants down that hill, then he's dead on the hill. No more ViacomCBS. While I'm out, that's over with, or at least he won't be on there anymore. I think that's his show, so if he goes and the show goes as well, a lot of people that are employed by the show, been on the show for years, they have no job anymore. So I mean, when Nick Cannon did that, when he said that, he was not being responsible, because it ain't just about him. He could take arrows and that's fine. He can get fired and that's fine. He's rich already. What about people that work on the show that aren't rich? They're just trying to make it. They come from LA in the hood and they're just trying to get some money. What about them? You think about that? What are you going to do now that the show's not on MTV anymore? Did they have any rights to it? Can you put it on a different platform? How is that really going to work out? As I close, I want to say this. You can say what you want. You do have freedom of speech, but understand this. Freedom of speech is a two-way street. If you say what you want, I have the right to respond in the way that I want. So if you want to talk about Jews not really being real and selling our birthright, okay. How about this? How about you say that over there? You can't work here anymore. I have the right to do that. This is my company, my business, my freedom of expression, and I'm expressing to you right now that you're fired. What are you going to do? If he wants down that hill, then so be it. He'll be okay. Like I said, he's still rich. He still has the Masked Singer for now because Fox is not part of Viacom, but that might not be forever, because if he keeps going down this road and he keeps becoming like this distraction and, this racist type narrative continues, then he won't be there too much longer, in my humble opinion. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Nick Cannon was telling the truth about the Jews and who's the real chosen people? And that's your viewpoint. Let me know why in the comments below. Or was he not? Was he spewing more of that black woke stuff from Elijah Muhammad, Fard Muhammad, whoever Fard Muhammad was, Farrakhan, Malcolm X? I feel like he was just repeating whatever he heard from Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, Noble Drew Ali, these kind of guys. Like these black wokey woke type people. Professor Griff, another one. Professor Griff got fired from Public Enemy back in the 90s for being anti-Semitic. Okay, so they're on the podcast together talking this stuff. Like, you can't just do that and say, it'd be like the same thing as white guys getting on there talking about black folks and how they're savages and they're animals. I mean, you're going to say that and just get away with it? No, you're not. Certain groups in the country will defend themselves. That's what's going on here. It ain't no conspiracy. It ain't no, Jews are controlling. You either defend yourself or you don't. Some of the Redstone, his family, ViacomCBS, they defended themselves. Jews defend themselves. Other groups, not so much. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.